Hey guys, I wanted to talk to you about an assignment that's going to be coming up for you relatively soon in week 3. For me, this is Mr. Perry Chemistry. Eventually, you're going to hit an assignment called Laboratory Techniques 01.07. It's sort of like compared to everything else you've done, it's going to be very strange and you might be a little bit confused. So let me explain how this assignment works. First off, you're going to see it in the assessments page. This is where you're going to turn it in. It's right here where it says 01.07. You know, it might look a little bit different than everything else we've done. It's got student comments and it's got a file upload. It looks kind of weird, kind of scary, but it's not that scary. Let me explain how it works. So what I want you to do is, let's find this lesson. It was 01.07, so let's find it in the actual lessons tab. You know what, actually, I'm gonna put this in a separate tab, just so we can navigate relatively easy. Okay. Let's find, come on. Oh, it's being kind of weird. There we go. Let's find laboratory techniques. Okay, here we are. Let's just go to the end. I mean, obviously you're going to read through all this, but I'm not right now. So let's just go to the end. Okay, so it gives you the lesson summary as always, but I want you to notice the assessment looks a little bit different. It's got a whole laboratory here, laboratory techniques lab. Now, I'm not going to go into all of this stuff, but essentially it's giving you two labs that you can choose from. I'm going to go with option 1. But basically, this is the assignment. You're going to perform a lab, and you're going to fill in all the data and figure out all your results and stuff. So it looks like this is a density measurements virtual lab, okay? Now, you'll notice it says download the laboratory techniques option 1 lab report. If we do that, I already clicked on it, but if you do that, it's going to download a Word document, and this is what that Word document's going to look like. You're going to make sure you have enable editing on, okay? But here it is. Basically, what you're going to do is you're going to do this virtual lab that they have here, and let's just take a look at this thing. It says measure the empty cylinder's mass, drive the cylinder to the scale. So it looks like it's giving you directions, and when you take data and stuff, you're going to fill in that data over here, okay? If we look at the very beginning of this lab, it wants you to come up with a title. Well, you could just do it, call it that, Density Measurements Virtual Lab. Objectives, I don't know what the objectives are. Let's see. What's on the... For this investigative phenomena, you will need to determine the densities of an unknown solid and liquid using different methods of measurement to determine if the solid will float on water. Hey, right there, that is your objective. Great, so you can just copy paste that. Okay, hypothesis. It already gives you your hypothesis here. Procedure. It tells you your materials. You need to figure out what the variables are. Okay, so that's something you're going to have to figure out for this experiment. And there's data. Let's see how we get that data. Let's just do one example. Let's just do one example and figure out how we get this data here. Okay. So let's just see. Okay, so step 1, measure initial mass. Measure the empty cylinder's mass, drive the cylinder to scale. Okay. So we drag it to a scale. This is one of those old school scales. Let's start here. Oh, that's too heavy. So, all right, let's try here. 10, 20, 30. Oh, 30 is too heavy. So we know this has a mass of at least 20, so let's mess with our single digit here. Oh, we're getting closer. Looks like you can use your arrow keys to slide this thing. Oh, looks like we're right on the money right here. So what is that? That's 26.0. Okay, right? Our mass is 26.0. It says when balanced, and it looks balanced to me. Type in the mass, which we found is 26.0, and add the notebook, or select the notebook to add data. Okay, so we did that. Great. So if we look here in our data table, that's been given to us. So we wrote that in as 26.0, so it records it. Remember, you need to actually come over here and add that data. So your mass of the 10 mil graduated cylinder, since this is trial 1, you're going to put that 26.0. Okay, that's how this works. All right, and then now you're on to volume of liquid milliliters. So, all right, let's close this. Okay, so add about 8.5 of the unknown liquid to the cylinder. It looks like you're supposed to click this when it hits around 8.5. Let's see. All right, I'm at around, I'm at like, that's like what, 8.55? That looks, okay, so we'll call that 8.55 milliliters. Right, 8.5, yeah, 8.55, okay. Again, data table, there it is, 8.55. So guess what I'm gonna write down? 8.55, okay? Because it says volume of liquid, so we put a volume of liquid. And then the mass of graduated cylinder and liquid in grams. Let's figure out what that is. Oh, so now we put the whole thing with the liquid in it. And again, we'll figure this out. So 10, 20, 30. Okay, so 30. Okay, looks like it's about, what is that? 36.567, 36.7 looks like. Great. So you would type that in here, okay? 36.7. Okay, and you would do this 3 times. Okay, you do this 3 times, and each time you would put the mass and everything. And those trials should give you relatively the same information, but it might vary a little bit, you know, in the decimals. Okay, so you do that 3 times, and that's basically how you do this. Okay, so you do the liquid part, and then you do the solid part, and then you just do some calculations, which you can figure out. Okay, that's how you do this. Now, here's what I want you to do now. Let's say you've finished all this, right? You've typed in, you know, all your information, everything's done, great. Oops, whatever. You've done everything. You're gonna save this. I'm gonna save it as maybe Perry Taylor, because that's my name, 01.07, because I mean, that is the assignment, right? 01.07. That's a nice, easy way for me to remember what assignment this is. And I'm gonna save it. Now you notice it's gonna be saved in downloads, so as long as you remember that this is in your downloads folder, you can do that. Or you can save it somewhere else if you want. You could save it in a new folder. You could save it somewhere on this PC. Maybe you just wanna save it to your desktop. Maybe you wanna make a new folder and add all your assignments to that folder. It doesn't really matter. I'm just gonna save mine into my desktop. Okay, so when we're finished with the assignment and it comes time to turn it in, I'm going to find it. Okay, assignment 01.07 laboratory techniques. I don't really have anything for comments. I guess you could put, hey, I was confused about this and this and this. Could you help me? Whatever. But when it comes time to turn this assignment in, you're just, that Word document that you completed, you're just going to turn it in right here. Okay, I think I put mine on desktop. There it is, Perry Taylor 1.07. There you go. Okay, and then when you finally submit this, you'll notice this is at 0%. It'll load all the way to 100%. Once you submit it, it'll go to 100% and say, hey, thank you for submitting, and then I'll grade it, obviously. Okay, that's how you do this assignment. I know it looks a little bit confusing, but once you get the hang of it, it's actually quite simple. If you need any help, you can always text me.